Hello there everyone and welcome back to another Umbara mock update video, and in this video I'm going to be reworking part of the front section to add in some more vegetation and plant life to give it that more classic Umbara feel. Just a heads up, these next couple episodes here are pre-recorded. Brickworld has already happened and it went really well, the mock turned out great, but I had to pre-record a bunch of different episodes here in order to get everything done on time, so these next 2 or 3 episodes are pre-recorded until the finale. That being said, I still would really appreciate all of your comments and feedback, and without any further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, we are back here on the terrain for this episode, the battlefield. I'm going to be focusing on that for the entirety of this episode. Right now I'm liking the way it looks, but I'm going to be doing a massive kind of almost transformation where I'm going to be adding a bunch of stuff to this. I'm going to add, I think, another trench over there, and then I'm going to be adding a lot more details and stuff, as well as some more trees and different vine pieces and such. I've been holding off on the vine pieces just because that's something that a lot of other people have done in their Umbara MOCs, but I really think it's something that I want to add to here to add a little more vegetation. As you can see, I've started to do that already down there. So a lot of stuff going on for this episode, but mostly all going to be working on the terrain. So very exciting stuff, and let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so I'm down here on the other side of the battlefield, and I made another trench here, very similar to the other trenches. Nothing too crazy here, very similar design and everything like that. One thing I'm starting to do is use these kind of vine pieces, and I'm spreading them out throughout here, and I'll show you guys kind of what I come up with from the view on the other side. But these vine pieces took forever for me to find because I just didn't know what they were called, and apparently they're like dinosaur tails or something like that. And I was kind of hesitant to use them just because I wanted to try something a little bit different, and I wasn't sure how expensive these would be, so I wasn't sure about ordering a bunch of them. But once I got to this certain stage in the mock, I realized the battlefield was a little bare and needed some more kind of like vine and tentacle stuff, you know, to make it feel like Umbara. So I did get some of those, and I'm kind of experimenting with those and placing them throughout a couple spots in the mock. Here's what I've got from the other side here, putting a couple of those vine pieces over the trench to really make it feel claustrophobic. Here's kind of a bigger piece right here of vines that I've got going on right here, as well as some trans red mixed inside of there, and kind of got them pointing in all different directions, a couple different sizes. Same with over here, and then I've also got some of these plant pieces in black that I've been slowly spreading out throughout the mock. So I'm hoping those plant pieces I can kind of use to just fill in some small parts underneath the trees and stuff like that to kind of fill in the empty spaces and hopefully make it look a little better and more detailed. But here's this side here. At the beginning of the episode it was empty and flat. Now I've got a new trench in there, as well as some of those vine pieces and kind of Umbara plants sticking out of the ground. Not sure if I've shown this yet, but I added in some of these dinosaur tail pieces right here with some flower kind of plants on top of it. I've had these for a while, been trying to figure out how to use them, so I'm using some trans pink, mixing it in there with these flower pieces, and it kind of gives me the fuchsia vibe, which kind of that plant and Umbara are similar to me whenever I look at kind of the plant life and the exoticness of it. So wanted to do a couple of those here. And I really wanted to make this trench kind of claustrophobic and feel like the vines are kind of growing over the trench, if that makes sense. Same with that, with the way I designed this trench, where it's kind of like pinching in on itself. So I really wanted to feel it kind of small and chaotic. So when I put some figures in there, the whole battle will just give a good, like kind of this close quarters feel, even though it's on the battlefields of Umbara. So I think that'll look pretty good. So I've got a couple of those kind of vine pieces right there. And right here on the battlefield, I've added in a bunch more of these kind of black plant pieces right here. And I don't know if you can see, I've got some of these really small kind of pointy pieces that I found. I've connected them to some different brackets and different things like that, some different clips rather, and make those kind of stick out of the ground like so. Got some more studs. This is all filled out now before it was all empty. And then I've started to mix in, so we have the pink mixing in with the red. This was a big kind of debate in the first couple episodes of which color I should go with. And I think a lot of people kind of suggested, well, you can do both as long as you kind of mix them together. And I'm okay with that because I really like the pink color on Umbara. It seems like in the show the plant pieces are a mix of both colors. So for Lego, this is what I think translates best. So I've got those plant pieces all throughout there and some more vines. I don't know how hard it's going to be able to, might be kind of hard to see with all the black pieces there. I don't know how well it comes off on camera, but I've just added all this in to give it a lot more texture here so it's not so flat and plain. This was kind of a big process, was getting the first layers down with the studs and the plates, and then putting the other studs on top, and now this plant life on top of it to really give it like a multi-layer approach to kind of give it that feel of Umbara. Alright, next here I added in a couple more trees, this time some pink ones. You guys had a few suggestions a while back to maybe add some pink trees to help kind of the transition into this right here. So we've got our red trees over in the corner, back over here, and then it flows into these pink trees. That might be all the pink I can do. I've kind of run out of all my pink parts to do some more trees, and I'm hopefully going to order some more red 1x2s. These take up so many 1x2s, it's kind of crazy for bricks. I'd really love to have like 3 more trees back over there, and I think this area would be kind of complete, mostly because over here I'm changing, putting all these vines and stuff, so I don't know if trees will work over there, but this section I want to add a couple more trees in. I really think that would help. Here's kind of another view over by hard case here. I think if I had like 2 or 3 more trees, I think this area would really look like the way I'm wanting it to, where we have kind of the forest area transitioning into more of the flat vine area like that, and then over on this side we have the trees right there from the forest leading into the vines area right there, into the main road and into the city. I think that would be really cool. So just a couple more trees and I think we'll be looking pretty good. The main trick and the thing I'm struggling with the most is how much do I add of these vines? For instance, this area right here, I don't know if this is too much. I don't think it's too little. My worry is, are there too many plant pieces on here? Part of me says I'm okay with more plant pieces because when I look at the ground in Umbara, it's very kind of viney and plant-like. It's like the whole planet's alive, and you could just feel like a clone trooper. You could trip on anything as you're walking through the battlefield. But at the same time, I hope it doesn't look too messy. That's kind of the balance I'm trying to strike here. This area, I'm not as worried because I've done more trees, more terrain, and I haven't put any plant pieces down yet, so I may go a little light on kind of the plants and vines in this area and keep it more heavy on this side, and then this corner will be a lot more vine pieces in kind of those dinosaur tail pieces. But over here I might keep it more of a forest area, so still a lot of work left to do, but man, this area is really starting to transform. My remaining objectives for this episode: put some more of those vine and plant pieces that I've kind of started to do over there. I want to put those into the tree area. We'll see if I get the parts in for this episode to put in those 2 or 3 more trees that I need to. And then I need to finish this gap right here, which I'll just kind of make more of this viney terrain. And then the battlefield is almost done, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to work, and up to you guys once I have enough progress. And I'm really enjoying this. This has been a lot of fun, so I'm excited to get back to work. And up to you guys here in a little bit. Alright guys, so I did a lot more work here over on this side with the trench over here, adding a lot more trans red. And here we go, added a bunch more of these kind of vine pieces right here, some of them outstretching into the road area, which will give some really good points where Umbarans and clones can take cover while they're engaging each other on the road right there. Added in a few more kind of different pieces in there as well for the trans red, as well as 1x2 black pieces, some more terrain pieces, and I also covered up the bunker right there with the turret with some more of those vine pieces and stuff, some more grass pieces, and I've kind of started to run out of parts, so this area is looking a little scarce, so perhaps if I find a couple more spare parts at the convention, I can make this area a bit more detailed. But here's what we are looking at for this section. We now have the area all the way from the trench all the way to the second trench to the bunker, pretty much filled out mostly, barring a few details here and there that hopefully I'll have time to add on to later, but this is what we're looking like. And here we are over at the front of the MOC in the trenches, and I added in a few more trees and then one more red one back there, so this whole area is looking pretty good now. You also can see way in the back there I've started to add in some more plant pieces with those vines. I've got a couple more structures here and there, as well as some more grass pieces and terrain parts, and this area is looking pretty good. There's another plant piece right there, and you can see some ATRTs in the background. I'll get to those in a second, but here's this front area with all these trees, and hopefully we'll be able to get lots of cool different angles down here with minifigures taking cover and firing in and out of these trees. And I think this trench area will be really cool. Hopefully it'll give kind of like maybe like a Pacific theater or Vietnam type vibes over in this area. Umbara has always been described as kind of the space Vietnam for the Clone Wars, so I think this will look really cool with all these different vegetation and stuff like that. ATRT reinforcements have arrived, so I don't really build a bunch of custom vehicles. So essentially what I did was took the turbo tank ATRT, the older Clone Wars turbo tank, and that has like a green color scheme, so I replaced most of those colors with blue, Added in a few more parts and modifications and created an ATRT right here because they are pretty famous with Umbara with these ATRTs and the absolutely absurd amount of just random deaths that these, nope. It's good timing. 501st ATRTs and ARF Troopers are so synonymous with Umbara and all of these just absolutely random, horrific like deaths that they have throughout the whole entire episode. Just next time you watch Darkness on Umbara, just watch all the ATRTs and how many of them get taken out. It's pretty crazy. So we've got one right here, which I'll be able to put in hopefully some cool different areas. And then I've got a second ATRT right here. This one is probably going to be destroyed over here with some clones taking cover behind the vegetation and the ATRT. During Darkness on Umbara, there's on the road when they get ambushed, one of the ATRTs gets blown up, and there's a bunch of different shots they cut to of the clones getting taken out as they're like in cover behind the ATRT. Like almost all of them get taken out in that little section. So I definitely want to have the kind of destroyed ATRT right there, and then a bunch of clones lined up behind there to kind of create those shots from the actual show. So now we have 2 ATRTs on the battlefield, and I think it just kind of helps fill things out, and we're looking pretty good. All right, guys, and with that, the battlefield area is pretty much complete. Most of it is done. There's just a couple small things I'll hopefully be able to do at the convention, but I'm at a point where I'm happy with the way it is, and if I had to leave it complete like this and if I don't have time to make any more changes, I am pretty happy with this right now. We have all the different vegetation throughout the whole entire battlefield area. These new vines, I'm glad I added them because they really do add a lot to the overall battlefield, and then we have these trees from the very beginning, so I think that'll be pretty cool. One thing that I'm hoping I achieved with this section was making it look like classic Umbara, but also adding in my own kind of elements to it here, and I think these trees were one way to do it, and adding in some of this pink before that I haven't really seen in too many builds. I was really excited to try to get that to work, so hopefully it all meshes together well. I wanted to try a couple different new things here. So we have the main road that's from the show, but then I really wanted to add in all of these trenches because to me, on my Star Wars MOCs, I love to have trenches. I just think that adds so much, especially at conventions and for photos and video, when you can really get eye level and get some awesome angles. So that's pretty much it, guys, for the battlefield area. And I'm going to go ahead and set up a couple figures for the intro and outro, and hopefully I'll have some time to maybe set up a few more things here and there, but for now, that's pretty much going to be it. So that is the battlefield. Lots of cool angles that you'll be able to see in the finale and in the final cinematic, especially this one right here. I really like where you can see down all the way into the city itself, and there's some sneak peek as well for some new stuff in the city. So that's about it, and let's go ahead and move on to the outro. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you did enjoy. It was a ton of fun to work on this video because I was working and building with these classic Umbara elements, and it was so much fun to revisit the battlefield section of this build. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and as always, leave your feedback in the comment section below. Hope you guys have a great day, and may the Force be with you always.